Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Easy Dharma for Difficult Times. This is your pastor of the day, Pastor David. And tonight we'll be talking about planning your Dharma, planning your life in the Dharma. So I just wanted to make a little announcement that from next week onwards, we won't be doing every single night. So that we will be going on every Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Tuesdays, and our time is going to change. We're going to go on. We're going to go live streaming on at 9:30. 9:30, all right. So on Tuesdays, 9:30 will be Pastor Neral. On Wednesdays, 9:30 will be me, and it's going to be Easy Dharma for the new normal. So brace yourself. So basically, tonight would be the last session of Easy Dharma for Difficult Times. All right, so let me see who's on. I have to refresh my screen here. Let me see. It's going to be... Oh, so many people already. Okay, I can see David Chu. Good evening. Mr. Lam, Martin, Moon Teng, Guang Ming, Sharon, Jillian, Yinping, Shuning, Christine, and so forth. I think there are more people, but Pastor Honey, I see your little face there. Welcome, good evening. So today we'll be talking about planning your life in the Dharma. The reason why I came up with this was specifically because we often don't have an idea of how to progress in the Dharma. I mean, I spoke about, what brings, how do you meet your Dharma, how to come to the Dharma, and like some sort of gauge, in the Dharma, but how do you plan your life in the Dharma? Because there's beginning, middle, and end. So the beginning, end is of course your old age and your passing. So in the beginning, when we meet the Dharma, most likely you are not a tuku, so you meet your Dharma is probably in your adult life, for most of us. And so when we meet the Dharma, there's the initial excitement. So there's this initial excitement, everything is so neat, everything's so powerful, all the deities, Dorje Shukden, wow, you hear these miraculous stories, you get even more excited. And then some of us have a problem, and then they did the prayer practice and did the retreat, and then you get the assistance and something miraculous happened, and you are all fired up and you're all excited. You all thinking, Dorje is so powerful, he's so amazing, Kechara is so great, Rinpoche is so good looking, he's so knowledgeable, he's so enlightened, he's so full of wisdom, all these wonderful thoughts are all part and parcel of a lot of people, maybe not you, but a lot of people who's new to the Dharma will get through this phase of excitement. Maybe not to the extent of how I just, said it, but we will have some sort of excitement in the beginning, because when we first encountered the Dharma, when we first new to the Dharma, it's always very, everything seems exaggeratedly, it's an exaggeration in our mind because everything looks so good, looks so fantastic. And unfortunately, it's an exaggeration is because it does not last. Okay, so somehow or another, something will go wrong. Most of the time, what goes wrong is not really externally. What goes wrong is internally, meaning how we see things, how we perceive things. So we have this undue expectation that everybody in Kechara, in the organization, is perfect, is enlightened. They have stuck on halos. They have perfect knowledge, perfect behavior, and total bodhisattva saints. So this undue expectation is always not matched by reality. All right. So unfortunately, at the beginning, that is a very important phase of our spiritual life, and we should know this. We should recognize this phase, especially if you are over this phase, so that you can guide others who have just entered this phase. We've just got into the Dharma, into Kechara, into Doji Shukden's practice, into into the pujas and all that, you know. So it's the very important thing is to recognize it and to help people. And if we are in it right now, to help ourselves, to make sure that we remain in the Dharma, okay? To make sure that our practice becomes stable. Because at the moment we are on a spiritual high. You know, everything is star-studded and everything looks perfect. Everybody is perfect. And what happens is someone comes along and says something and maybe tells us something wrong or say something, you know, that hurts our feelings or disappoint us, make promises and break them. And then you're like, oh my God, what happened? After that, all the stars fell from the sky. Everything, you know, everything that's rosy and perfect becomes, you know, dull and boring, or dull and, you know, lifeless, or everything just turns you off. So what happens is during this time is to recognize that you are at the point where you have overcoming this phase. So, and when you overcome this phase, immediately you meet this disappointment. Sometimes the disappointment is not from you. It's not from people in Kechara. Many of the times it's from yourself, because perhaps you overpromise. You overpromise you'll do this department, that department. You go to so many, and then you promise to donate this. You promise to do this sadhana. You are so excited. Some people, you know, I've come across, they want to do 10 malas of Mexama a day. So it's like when you tell them, isn't that too much? And then you say, no, aren't you doing that? It's so wonderful. How come you're not doing that? You know, there are some people like that, you know. Why aren't you doing that? But you are a pastor. Why aren't you doing 10 malas of Mixama a day? I was like, that's not practical, because we have other things, you know, that we need to do. You know, we have commitments to fulfill. We have our Dharma work. We have to, you know, to meet people. And then if you have not in Kechara, you're not working for the Dharma, you're not doing Dharma work, then you have your own commitments, your family, and all that. So the important part is you have to recognize this. So always when new people come to me regarding, let's say, practice, let's say their sadhanas, I always tell them to be practical and to be reasonable, because not every day you have, you know, 2-3 hours to do your sadhana. And the mantras are powerful. Miktsima is extremely powerful, effective. But when you go overboard at the beginning, what happens is you can burn out. And you do encounter situations where you don't have the time. And so a lot of the times when we reach this spiritual high, and then we meet an obstacle, and then, you know, the obstacle sometimes can consume you and sometimes can bring you down, make you feel that you have disappointed the whole pantheon of the Buddhas in Garden Heaven, and then you don't feel like you want to continue. Then you feel down. You know, before that you were very high, and then you feel down. So, hello everybody. Hello Ramesh, Calvin, nice to see you. And so forth, all the people underneath, Tenzin Droka, Kinho, Ling Myang Lee, Jin Koi, nice to see you. Pastor Albert, Miao Ki, Elsie. Elsie says, I got burnout. See? Definitely, I've come across, I mean, this is just one way you burn out, which is you overcommit yourself to a practice, and then the problem about burning out is it does make you feel down. It does make you feel you don't want to continue. And then you wonder why can't you, and you think it's an obstacle. Actually, it's you yourself. So when it's you yourself, so just lower your commitments lah. You know, you bring it down. Rinpoche has never told anybody to do 10 malas of Mixima a day. Rinpoche didn't ask you to do 10 sadhanas a day. You know, that usually what happens when you do so much is you're using a period of time when you're doing retreats. All right? So, so it's important that people realize this. This is your first phase of your spiritual path, which is overcoming your initial excitement. So when you reach the point when it's ended, usually the excitement ends with an obstacle. The obstacle comes from either from people in the organization being rude to you, disappointing you, and then you feel you don't want to continue. You just don't feel like going. And most important is it's not the people, it's not the organization, it's your disappointment. So if it's you, then you have to recognize that and to see that this is something from your side, and it's from how you see the situation. Yes, they should have kept their promise. They should have, the organization should have, planned in such a way to accommodate perhaps a flaw in. So what happened is it's not anybody's fault because everybody makes mistakes, right? So it's just being practical about it. So if you come into the Dharma and you've seen the benefits, receive the benefits, see the potential of it improving the quality of your life, you should continue and overcome this and perhaps be a part of it and make suggestions because, there's nothing wrong, you make suggestions. And when your suggestion is not taken up, don't be disappointed, don't be hurt, don't be angry, don't be frustrated. All right. Many of us have suggestions for the organization, but due to manpower, due to a variety of reasons with the organization, you don't expect everything to be carried out the way just for you. So what happens is, if it can be carried out, someone would help you. When you pass on to your suggestions to the appropriate person, and then if it's feasible, then it can be carried out because a lot of times resources are stretched. All right. So everybody must understand this part. From the initial excitement and disappointment, the excitement usually comes after. The excitement comes before, and then you meet a disappointment. And then something can come from externally, within the organization, the structure, within the people, within somebody being rude to you, within yourself, over-promising, doing your practice or whatever it is. It's overcoming that. Then it comes to learning. You do not need to wait till you overcome your excitement to start learning. Learning starts at the beginning, right at the beginning when you start your practice, when you start entering the doors of Kechara, or you start open your first blog page on Rinpoche. So that's when you click and you read the articles. That's when you start to learn. Learning shouldn't be someone have to tell you to do, someone have to force it down, make it a requirement. It should come from yourself. In Buddhism, some people, I understand, some people are not intellectually inclined, but there's so many ways to go around it. You can click on videos. There's so many YouTube videos that you can click on the blog. There's so many articles. Not all of them are, Madhyamika, Prasangika, emptiness, shunyata, wisdom, bodhicitta, generation of bodhicitta, tantra. Not everything is, it's so intellectual that, the moment you read the first sentence, you're bogged down with the terminologies. Not all of them are like that. There's so many articles. And there's a recent slew of a couple of articles that is more lifestyle, that is more stories, that Dharma is weaved in. So that's what the blog is for, Rinpoche's blog. So we have different articles, different avenues. And if you don't like reading, then there's YouTube videos. And then on top of that, we have classes. There's this session. I hope whatever I share and pass it around, and whoever other pastor who's sharing the Dharma with you will be able to convey the Dharma to you that will help you, help your practice, help your learning, okay, your learning process. So let me know if you have any questions about anything, regarding this. So this phase is about learning the Dharma. So what do you need to learn? Okay, most people just randomly click here, click there. I think all of us are quite familiar with the Lamrim. All right, so the Lamrim is such a touted book. In Kechara, we always talk about Lamrim. Everything is Lamrim. Lamrim this, Lamrim that, Lamrim this. Then when we look at the Lamrim, it's this thick. All right. So when you look at around me, it is daunting, I admit. Even for me, I have not read page to page yet, but that's my goal. So what happened is there are many teachings in the Lamrim. There are many teachings that accommodate the topics in the Lamrim. For example, Rinpoche's YouTube videos. All right. And also, but we should have an idea of how the topics flow in the Lamrim. You know, from the beginning, it's Atisha's story. We should have an understanding who Atisha is, and then we go into the beginning chapters with impermanence, karma. You know, the basic stuff. All of us should, if we don't know, but we would have probably heard of those terms. For example, karma, reincarnation. We know what it means, but how does it technically work? How does one take rebirth? How does karma play in the role of one taking rebirth? 6 realms of samsara, what does that mean? How does that apply to you? Pastor now gave a fantastic session on each of the realm and how it affects us and how we could take rebirth in them and what are the causes and conditions that bring about that existence. So we should at least have a basic understanding. Like, we don't have to have a huge in-depth understanding completely, but at least an understanding, because it's helpful. It's very helpful because all of us, every aspect of the teachings applies to us one way or another. All right? So learning the Dharma is extremely important. So in order to structure our learning, that's why in Kechara we have Lamrim classes. That's why we have in a Lamrim, it gives you a very easy, structured way, step-by-step way to learning. And then Rinpoche has a few recommendations. If you follow Rinpoche's teachings in the past, aside from the Lamrim, there is 3 principal aspects of the path. Actually, the 3 principal aspects of the path is a condensed version of the Lamrim. All right, and also there is mind training teachings like Wheel of Sharp Weapons. Recently, I think it was a topic of one of the blog chats. If you have followed Rinpoche's blog, in the blog chat, what is the Wheel of Sharp Weapons? You know, it is teachings like this that are of paramount importance. And for example, the motto of organization. This is what Rinpoche told us a long time ago. 8 verses of thought transformation. So. And then when we read it, sometimes we read like a prayer mindlessly, and we don't really fully appreciate what each verse is. There's many teachings. Rinpoche has come up with a book. Have we read it? Do we have an inkling of what each verse mean? You know? So if you've been in the Dharma for very long and all this seems like completely alien to you, then that's where you have not progressed in your learning. And then that's very important. All right. So let me see, where am I now? Do you have any questions, everybody? Everybody is very quiet. I see a lot of hands, thumbs up from Fun Xiang, some Ba Chiren. All right. So generally speaking, I don't know about you, but I think in every aspect of our lives, we plan. We plan what school we're going to go to. I mean, as in, what college. When the school is usually decided, the earlier, earlier schools were decided by parents. Then later, when we go to, college, we plan because we want to study computer science. We want to study IT. We want to study fashion. We want to study engineering. We have plans, and then because we like that particular field of study, and then we have a particular end result of being architect, an engineer, a designer, a computer programmer, a lawyer, a doctor, a veterinarian, a cook, So since we have plans for that, and then later on in life, when we have secured with our careers, we started our jobs, we've reached somewhere, and then we're dating someone. We plan. Oh, okay, we have a girlfriend, we have a boyfriend. Some of us, then we plan. We save up money. Then okay, we get married, and then we get our first car, our first house. And then we plan what we're going to do, where we're going to go. See, we plan ahead, secular wise. So how do we do that in the Dharma? Okay, I have a question here from LC. Hi, Pastor. Is it okay to keep a copy of Wheel of Sharp Weapons at home? No problem. And there shouldn't be a problem about. I don't see why there's a problem about keeping a Dharma book at home. Yeah, of course. Oh, okay. The Wheel of Sharp Weapons is not a book on Tantra. The Wheel of Sharp Weapons is a teaching in verse form. Verse means it's like poetry, like 4-5 lines each stanza. And it is actually a teaching by Atisha's teacher, Dhammarakshita, an Indonesian, who taught Atisha these teachings on generating bodhicitta based on karma, based on the root result of every affliction possible. It comes in quite a lot of verses, and each tells you what affliction, perhaps, like let's say if your body is racked with disease and illnesses, what's the cause and what you should do, and how you contemplate. And then some verses are not that. Some verses are just contemplation in general on being a bodhisattva, on being an altruistic person, on being a higher person, a person of higher motivation. So all this, it's just like that. So when you read the commentary, then you have a bigger, better understanding of each verse. Okay, so this teaching is fine. You can read it. You can read the commentary, and you are in fact advised to by Rinpoche, because it's a mind training text. It helps you to train your mind, change your mind, transform it, become a more altruistic person, understand the situation that we are in right now. Each verse, it's very uncanny, because many of the examples given in the text can be applied to us, one or another. All right? So you can keep it, and you can read it, and you are advised to, you're encouraged to. Okay, where was I? Going back to, I lost myself. Where was I? Was I talking about? Something to do with
The teachings like that.
oh no. Yeah, no. I was talking about. I was just giving an example of how we plan in life, secular wise. We plan. Then we plan. We plan this investments later on in our lives when we are more financially secure. We plan our investments. We plan our investment. We plan the future of our kids. The investment is for our kids, for their education, for when they get married. We keep heirlooms. See, we plan ahead. So what about our spiritual practice? Why don't we plan ahead for it? That's my point, and that's my goal in telling you this, in giving you this teaching, because I think it's very important, especially for us. Especially now, everybody listening to me now, a lot of us already feel a lot of anxiety, a lot of frustration, a lot of some of us slight minor depression if you are living by yourself. Some of us are feeling frustrated. We want to go out, we want to do things, but we cannot. And then we're frustrated with the government. We're frustrated with our family members at home, our loved ones. We're frustrated because we're in so close proximity. You know why you need to plan your Dharma practice? Because in the future, very, very, very soon, all of us will be forced to be like that. Because we get old. What happens when you get old? You cannot drive out anymore. You are not so mobile. You need to depend on people. You need to depend on people, and people will not be as patient to you because, you're just older. You're dependent on people, and when you're dependent on people, some people, if we're lucky, our family members will take care of us. Sometimes they don't take care of us. Sometimes they feel we are a burden. And when we feel that we are a burden, it's very painful experience. A lot of older people experience that. Okay, what you're feeling right now is a little taste of what it's like to be an older person that's stuck at home all day, all night, dependent on someone to help them, to do things. Some of us, some older people are wheelchair bound, bed bound. They're bound, and they have to be on the bed 24 hours. Some of them, they just can't walk. They can't go out much because they can't drive anymore. So eventually we reach there. We will. All of us will. If you are lucky, in fact. If you're not lucky, then you go off quick. And everybody is like, oh, I wish that to happen. No, you don't. You don't want to die soon. You're too attached to die soon. Everybody say, oh, I'm 60, I want to die because you know what? I want to die suddenly and peaceful and not experience all the suffering of an old person. You're not the judge of that. You're going to commit suicide at 60? Come on. Right? So let me see. Mr. Lam, I'm actually in process of reading the book Compassion Conquers All. The essence of mind training is within the book. Right. Compassion Conquers All is actually based on the 8 verses of thought transformation. All right. So each chapter relates to a particular verse of the teaching. So it has got everything to do with relating to people, relating to our practice, and that's the essence of the 8 verses of thought transformation. And Elsie said, yes, the younger ones are impatient. Exactly. Whether you're young, some of us who are older also, we already feel the frustration. And a lot of older people actually go through a lot of mental suffering. And part of it is because they were not brought up, or rather not brought up, that's not the right term, not prepared themselves to reach this stage where, you're dependent on others, where you are not so mobile anymore, you're not young anymore, you cannot go out and distract yourself anymore. Because basically the issue is that with this MCO or the circuit breaker in Singapore, whatever it is, or wherever you are, the thing is, the essence of it is that we cannot indulge as much distractions on the outside, as in we go shopping, we cannot go out shopping, we cannot go and cut our hair, we cannot do the things that we always like to, as often as we want, as any time, and things are changed. This is the new normal. Hence, even this whole series is going to change to the new normal. So, we have to brace ourselves, because right now it is a perfect time to give you a taste of what it's like when you reach the stage where you can't go out as much. You can't indulge in your distractions as much, your attachments. So my point in telling you this is that preparation for that time. And when some of us already who is older, if you are 50 and older, you should reach a point where I actually have no right to advise people who are older than me, but this is expectations lah, okay? It's not just from me, it's from a lot of people, in the sense that when you're older, what happens is people don't come to you for entertainment, for conversation as much, especially the younger crowd. Okay, they don't come to you for entertainment as much or for conversation as much on a casual basis, because perhaps it's not really the younger generation's fault. It's more of a generation difference. So the mindset is different, so it's not so easy for them to connect. So what happens is older people are very lonely. Older people are usually, okay, of course there is the exception of the case, but I'm talking of the usual. And they're very lonely, and they were always very lonely for company. They're very lonely for company, and they want to talk. They're looking for conversation, and sometimes some older people, whatever conversation they can find, they'll try to catch your attention. Okay, so if you are a younger person, taking care or, passing by, or, in the care of an older person, in the presence of an older person who is like that, give them your attention. Give them some sort of care and attention, because when they strike meaningless conversation out of nothing, it's obvious that they're lonely. So you just give it to them. Don't ignore them. Don't brush them aside, and do your best, whatever you can. From time to time, of course, not all of us are so free to have long 10-hour conversations, but whatever you can, and understand them for why they're lonely, why they come up with, they ask you for the most obvious question, oh, what are you doing when you're making your dinner or something? What are you doing? Sometimes the older people, they just want some sort of a conversation and attention because they're cooped up at home. They can't go out, they don't have much friends, and most likely the older generation, they don't have, they're not so tech savvy where they can message their friends, and sorry to say, a lot of the older people, many of their peers are not around anymore. So they do suffer from a lot of loneliness. And for us, the younger people watching this, we should have an understanding and we should do our best. And then for us who is experiencing, I don't know anybody if you reached that stage, but if you and even if you have not, we will. That's the point. We will reach a point where we will be lonely, we'll be stuck alone. And when we feel lonely, what do? The loneliness, where does it come from? Does it come from having a lot of conversations with people? It does not. If you know the Dharma, and if you know and you practice for a long time, this is a point where realization should hit home. When you're alone, why are you feeling lonely? Perhaps you have not accomplished much. Perhaps maybe you have nothing much to offer. Usually, why some older people, a lot of people gravitate to them is because they are wise. They have good advice. For some older people, sorry, I have no offense intended for anybody, do not have that, unfortunately. So how do you gain that kind of wisdom? Practice the Dharma, learn the Dharma. Without that kind of wisdom, because why it's not only practicing the Dharma, it's not, but practicing the Dharma, learning the Dharma helps you develop wisdom. Because it's not just learning and that's it. It's stored in your head like knowledge. It's not that. It's that you have to walk the talk because people can feel it when you give people advice. Okay, I have some comments here. Let me see. Sharon has a very long one. I don't think age is a good gauge when it comes to being able to give good advice. I think what matters more is having a solid foundation in Dharma and spiritual practice. I know some people in Dharma who can give really good advice based on their Dharma knowledge. Sharon, very nice. I don't think you were saying as in what I was trying to say, as in a comment to saying that I was trying to imply that. No, I wasn't trying to imply that, if that's what you mean, but I don't think you are. So you're right, it's not an age thing, and it's not so much as from knowledge. Sometimes people give, in Kechara, you will notice some people who are younger can give good advice, is because it comes from Rinpoche. It comes from Rinpoche. Like what I'm telling you right now, all the observations and about older people doesn't come from me. Obviously, I'm not that, wise to and to observe the reasons behind why people are lonely and all that. It comes from Rinpoche. So a lot of what you see in Kechara, for some people who are younger, who are able to give advice, comes from Rinpoche. It's from Rinpoche's advice, it's from Rinpoche's speaking to us, sharing with us, analyzing, because Rinpoche spent a lot of time analyzing people. Yes. He spent a lot of time, sometimes our conversation is just filled with analysis of a particular person, and the idea of Rinpoche is analyzing someone's person's character and their flaws and their strengths. It's not so much as to, it's not so much. It's not to criticize, it is to find a way to help this person. So it comes from there, where Rinpoche, because Rinpoche has many students who are older, Rinpoche also has a lot of students who are younger, so it does not matter. So, okay, anyway, that covers that. And then Lily says, I don't think loneliness is a generation thing. Very true. It's not a generation thing. It is a... but you see, Lily, for people who are younger and lonely, there's a lot of avenues for them to distract themselves. So a lot of people who have a lot of friends who have a lot, who have, they open their diaries, you look at the appointments, it's filled with, meetings and social engagements and all that, and they're so filled and they look like they're so busy. Actually, they're very lonely. Yeah, that's why when they're in this situation where they're locked down at home, they can't go out, they can't do anything, this loneliness builds up in a lot of people. So it is not a generation thing, but it's easier for a younger generation to distract themselves. And that's where the danger is. Because actually a lot of us don't realize we are very, very lonely. We don't. And we always spend a lot of our time engaging in our distractions, meaning going out, looking for friends, looking for company, and looking for entertainment. We spend our lives so much doing that, we don't realize that we are very lonely, because when we don't have it, how much we suffer. That shows you are lonely. All right, that's my point. And for these kind of people, they suffer a lot when they grow older. It's not a type of people, it's that mentality that if they've not realized over the years, is that because they're not addressed the core reasons behind loneliness, and when they get older, and they cannot go out and meet so many people anymore, that loneliness becomes very, very apparent, very strong. All right, so that covers what Lily is to say. And then Mr. Lam. The teaching by Rinpoche on to be lonely is worse than hell is very relevant to us who is approaching senior citizen category. That's right. So I tell, and actually a lot of older people go through a lot of, especially those who are so more housebound, right? When they are housebound, and also when they have a very little friends. There are some older people who do not have many friends. Then they are still mobile, but they have not many friends. And they suffer a lot because they are very lonely. And what happens is they go through a lot of bouts of small things becomes very big. It's exaggerated. It's a form of attachment and aversion. So small things. So for example, sometimes they cannot find their favorite curry laksa, right? Their curry laksa stall closed down. They get really worked up, angry, frustrated, and then they come home and then they vent out. So there's some older people, they are angersome for the smallest reason. Some are bitter, some are grumpy. Most of them, not everyone is angry, and some are just grumpy, the grumpy old man, the grumpy old lady, or sometimes not even grumpy. Some of them, they just nag. So what they do is they nag for women, they nag their daughter-in-laws, their son-in-laws, whether it's the women or the usually the woman's sorry lah. I know this is stereotyping, but yeah. So this is different avenues of how people express their loneliness and deal with the loneliness. And when they do that, they drive people up the wall. And then sometimes, they don't realize, because when we get older, our attachments that were not dealt with, that was when we were younger, it gets stronger as we get older. Karma multiplies, remember? So karma multiplies means what? Means our attachments and our hang-ups does not go away by itself with age, It gets stronger and stronger when we don't deal with it. When you think it's all nothing lah, But later when we get older, when we don't have the things that we used to, wow, we can fly into a rage, or we can go into the depths of depression for a small thing. Because our attachments are so strong already when we get older. So that's why it's all the more reason why it's important to practice Dharma, important to learn about attachments, important to see, important to do a lot of practice. In our old age, it should be a time spent in doing a lot of practice, meaning a lot of mantras. In the Tibetan community, old people, you will find the most jolliest old men ever. And they don't need a lot of people to talk to them because they're too busy. They're reciting mantras, they're twirling the prayer wheel. And they're doing all that. And most of them don't know how to do, advanced Doji Shukden rituals and, pujas and all that. They just know how to do Mixima or just Doji Shukden mantra or Om Mani Padme Hum. And all they do is do that. And they have a cultural thing that's ingrained in them, that when you're older, that's what you do. And then they will stay where, where a holy place is near there, and then they circumambulate, and they do a lot of practice. So for us, when we're older, that's ideal. Because you know why we need to do all that? When we're older, we need to prepare for our next life. We need to plant as much imprints in our mind as possible, especially towards our later part of our life. So we don't wait till when we reach that time. We don't wait. A lot of us, I'll practice the Dharma when I retire. I'll practice the Dharma when I'm 70. I'll practice the Dharma later. Later, tomorrow, next day, next year, next life. So what happens is when you keep delaying doing practice, it will never come. So when the time comes for you to do practice, sometimes you don't have the opportunity. You don't know what's going to happen. So that's why Rinpoche say in his teaching, he called his whole teaching, the book on quotes, is titled, "If not now, when?" If you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? You will never do it. That's Rinpoche's message, because why you will never do it, although you plan for it, that you will do it, is because our attachments go so strong, our distractions grow stronger and stronger. So when we do think we can, we find our distractions, I've noticed a lot of people, no names are going to be mentioned, all right? A lot of people, they say, when I retire, I'll do practice. When I retire, I'll do Dharma work. When I retire, I'll promise to do this, that. But when the time comes, my family, my mother-in-law needs me. My daughter-in-law needs me. I need to handle another affair, family affair. I need to do that. Something will come along and prevent you. And you don't have to start now, as in give up everything, and you do something small and you build. The idea to overcome that is to start now. Do what you can. Promise to do it consistently. If you plan to do retreats, you do small one now, like a day retreat. Come to Kechara for a weekend, and rent a room. And I remember now the membership. Now you have a free 1 day stay at Kechara Forest Retreat if you are a registered member and a paying member, right? So use that. 1 day you come to Kechara, that 1 full day, do lots of practice, volunteer. Do retreat, 1 day retreat. Your retreat doesn't have to be a whole weekend. It could be a 1 day. It could be a 2 day. Do something. So that's how you build up. Okay, let's see what else. Yiling says, Irene says, okay, where did I? Okay, Irene. Elderly people who has Dharma will not get lonely as they age because they are expected to do long retreats and don't have time to feel lonely or nag. Wonderful, Irene. Yes, but not everybody, I understand, not everybody is, able to do long retreats. Even if you're young now, for some of us who are younger, and you ask them to do long retreats, you can kill them, you can throw them out of the building. They'll rather be thrown out of the building than do long retreats. So in order to build your mental ability to be focus, to be able to take it, because it's not easy to go through long retreats. Even a weekend can be difficult for some people already. And if you are a total beginner at retreats and you start off, you will find a lot of struggle at the beginning. All right, so instead of be so ambitious as suddenly delve into long retreats for an older person, is to start now, small ones, then you build up. All right. So the idea is planning ahead. So when you have learned all this knowledge, it's got to be applied. So you have got to observe yourself. The gauge is you yourself, not someone else, you yourself. So you gauge how much have your main negative qualities, your jealousy, your anger, your laziness have decreased over time. Your concentration, how much has it improved? Concentration means what? Your ability to take pujas. Some people, it's torturous for them to sit through a Doji Shukden 3-hour puja. Torture. So when they sit there, Their mind is racing all over the place, and they are twirling over their malas, but they're not there. It's just an act. So how much has your concentration had improved over the time? I am, as I say this, I'm a little guilty because I am not totally focused either, but I have tried to improve. And that's why for me personally, on a personal basis, I always try to, now that I have a bit of free time, while we're waiting for Rinpoche to return, I'm planning to do retreats every year, small retreats. So I think you guys should also do some sort of retreat and some sort of practice. Not just retreat. Don't just do practice only on retreats. Do it on a daily basis. Something short, sweet, simple, 15 minutes, gautim, finish. Make it simple, small, but when you do it with your heart. If it's short, to do it with your heart. To do it with heart means what? Focus on the sound. No SMS, no WhatsApp, no WeChat, no Facebook, no TV. Focus. Okay, when you do this is 15 minutes. 15 minutes. You sit longer in the toilet bowl, So 15 minutes, or if 15 minutes is too long for you, okay, 5-10 minutes, whatever, up to you. As long as you do it on a consistent basis. Every day, make some offerings, or once a week, make some, fruit offerings. Make it a habit. For me, it starts off as a habit first. I know my concentration is crazy, but I make it a habit every day. So you start from somewhere, And then, so, and most important is all these teachings have to be practiced, all of the when you've learned the three principal aspects of the path, we should learn it not just to learn it as knowledge, learn it from the point of what it means, learn it from the point of practical means. Emptiness, what does that mean? Bodhicitta, what does that mean? Renunciation, what does that mean? Throw away your designer clothes, sell your Mercedes, your BMW, your Toyota, and buy a Kanchil, a Kalisa. No, I mean, you're not going to do that anyway. So the idea about all this is practical ways of how you incorporate all these teachings into your life. You have to go into the essence of these teachings and how you apply into your life. How to apply into your character, how to apply it to your daily lives. It's very important. And how does it change you? Do you find, Dharma talks? Do you find Kechara, a chore to go to on a week? So for some people, they're dying to come to Kechara. I know one person who's dying to come because they're dying at home right now with this. They want to come to Kechara, get some kind of blessing. For some people, they die never to come again, or they only come when they have to, when it's when it's Vesak Day, or when there's a puja, So I don't know which side of this scenario you are sitting on, but it's important to understand if you're dying to be away from the Dharma and it's a chore, then not much transformation, not much learning, and it means your attachments are very strong. Samsara is very strong for you. And when samsara is very strong for you, that's your gauge. If your social engagements take more importance than your spiritual engagements, and your sadhana is when you feel like it or not, then it's a gauge. Your samsara is very strong. Your attachments, samsara and attachment is synonymous in this case. Your attachments is very strong. It means that, not a good sign. It means that you have not progressed much. Okay, you have not put into practice much. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you don't know enough. Maybe, it's not a right or wrong. It doesn't mean you are bad. No, it's just your learning is not there yet. So when you learn enough, you'll find your samsara will be secondary. You will never be replaced. Don't worry. You will never become the fanatical throw away samsara, throw away your clothes, and run naked into the forest in Kechara Forest Retreat, and then meditate in behind JP's room. You will never reach that. Don't worry. You'll never reach that fanatical stage where everything you just give out like a mindless drone. It will never happen. What will happen is you will become happier. You will find more joy in doing spiritual practice. You will find that your problems that's related to your family, your relationships, your business, your career, that used to be monumental, it's earth-shattering importance, not as big, it's so big, but it doesn't cover the sky anymore. It could just cover half the sky, a quarter of the sky. It's not so big anymore. Since it's not so big anymore, you're able to deal with it more successfully. You're able to deal with it, find solutions, because you know why? Because it's not so important anymore. Your attachment is not that strong anymore. So when it's not so strong, you know what happens? Your obstacles be less. So if you want your obstacles to be less, that's when you need to practice. It goes both ways. It's not just automatically, happens. It comes along with your practice. It comes with your realization. It comes along with, you collecting a lot of merits. It comes along with Dorje Shugden's assistance. It comes all comes together. But most importantly, Rinpoche always told me before, when you want your obstacles to be less, it's not just Dorje Shugden doing the work. You have to do the work as well. And in order to help Dorje Shugden, because he's got so many of us to deal with, our so many a collective obstacle is like, it's like Jupiter on planet Earth. Our merit is planet Earth, our obstacle is Jupiter. I don't know how many times 1,000 Earth. Yeah, it's so huge. And he has to deal with all our obstacles. So you have to give Dorje Shugden a helping hand. So you need to practice the Dharma. You need to put it into practice. Okay, anyway, here we go. Irene says, yes, little steps constantly retreats prepares for long retreats. Elsie says, samsara, very strong, how to reduce it. Elsie, reducing our attachments. Samsara has a few things, quite a number of things to contend with, but the main thing I want to talk about is actually our attachments. So our attachments are usually, for us modern people, especially in places like Singapore, Malaysia, where things are pretty more or less comfortable. So our strongest affliction will be our attachment. And attachments, how to reduce our attachments is when we learn more Dharma, we do more practice, we do more offerings. We do more offerings, and we study the 6 paramitas. The session that Pastor Nar spoke about, the 6 paramitas. First one is generosity. So one of the biggest ways to practice generosity to overcome miserliness and ultimately attachment. So attachments can be dealt with in many, many ways. It depends. And also some of us, our attachments come in many, many angles. Some of our attachments are to do with tangible things, which is material things like property, investments, businesses, our clothes, our house. A lot of us, our attachments are that, and more so intangible things. Like, what's an intangible attachment? Like our face. Some people cannot be wrong, so they will do whatever it takes to be right. Even in the Dharma, they will use Dharma to justify how right they are. Even when they are wrong, they will find a way to twist it around to look right. And they will some of us would even tell white lies so that we look right. So, I'm just giving one example. Some people are, our attachment is our family member, a loved one, a lover. Some people, our attachment is finding a lover. Some people, our attachment is, what others, I can't think of really. But generally, you understand, you catch my drift. There's tangible, obvious material attachments, and, intangible, which is like, our face, our, how we look, our, attachments to people, things like that. All right. So how to reduce it? Study Dharma. If you've been in the Dharma for many years and you still haven't, you don't know of any methods or ways to overcome your attachments, then it's time you do more learning, All the teachings are attacking attachments. It's just which one is most suited for us, which one will directly attack our main attachment is the one's most important. All right. Tenzin Jamkar Kingdom, right? Welcome. Nice to see you join us all the way from the UK. I think we just have to create the causes to do spiritual practice, as Rinpoche once said. People who wait till they are ready will never be ready. Do you know why? People who wait when they are ready will never be ready because they create the causes not to be ready by not creating the causes to do it now. Yeah, basically they never start. They're basically, sometimes people, for me, that's what I think, people are being diplomatic. So they perhaps do not appreciate the full importance of the Dharma and how it can impact our lives, especially in the future, right? So it becomes something of a backseat. So what usually people do is when it's not so important and they don't want to say no, so they just say, oh, later. I think a lot of us do that. I mean, on normal occasions, not about Dharma, okay? Like when we don't want to do something, we don't want to say no outright. So we say, oh, I will do it later lah. I'll do it another time. I do it when I'm free. I do it when, when the time is right. So basically, it's another way of saying no, actually. Psychologically, I think. So anyway, we've come towards the end of our session. If you have any other things to share, I think this is a very easy lifestyle way to go about this, planning our life in the Dharma. So I think I'll end it with one little, how do I say this? This is something that Dodishin taught us when he gave a Dharma talk to us in Wisdom Hall when he took trance, and then the oracle, which is not the oracle himself but is Dorje Shuten giving a Dharma talk and Rinpoche translating for us, and there's a blog post called "The Farm of Our Mind," I think. Farm Your Mind. So basically, the idea for the full teaching, please read that, because I may not be able to deliver the complete complexity of Dorje Shukden's teaching, but it goes something like that. Our mind is like a farm. We have plots of, where we grow our vegetables, we grow our fruits, we grow the shrubs, we grow all sorts of different types of edible veggies. So what happens is these represent our Dharma practice. So over time, right, our farm should be, our farm should be run commercially. Okay, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not exactly saying what the audition, but the meaning should be something like that. We should make full use of the piece of land that we have. So we should our farms should be fully utilized. So we should plant things and it should bear fruit. So each plant should be bear fruit. So likewise in our practice, we should learn, and from our learning, we should practice, and we should increase. No commercial farmer will want to have their yield remain the same or decrease over time, because a lot of us over time, our practice, we do less and less and less and less and less and less, because our samsara is increasing, because we have not attacked our samsara, we have not attacked our attachments. So when our farm is reducing, we are losing money. And that is in commercial terms. In spiritual terms is our Dharma practice is degenerating. Our Dharma practice sometimes will maybe not degenerate, but remain stagnant. So we should do something, we should do more, we should think of new ideas, we should do more practice. All right? So whether it's Dharma work, whether it's practice, whether it's learning, it's the same. Okay? It should bear fruit. The idea is for a farm, it should bear fruit. Because without the fruit, you will not be able to make money. you will eventually have to close your farm. So for us, all of us will have to eventually, move to a bigger farm, smaller farm. Okay, what I mean is all of us is we do have to, we reached a point in life where we have to pass away. So during that time, how much yield from our farm will be the most important, the farm of our spiritual practice. So we should view it that way. And please read, okay, it didn't come out very smoothly, so you should read the article, the advice of Doji Shukden, on how to increase the yield of our farm, how to improve over time, our spiritual practice to improve. Do not make it go less. So we shouldn't have our plots getting smaller and smaller and smaller, because a lot of us do. For whatever good reasons or bad reasons, does not matter. If we let samsara, attachments, take over, our farm does get reduced. All right. Thank you very much. And no questions, no comments. Thank you. I'll do dedication and we'll complete for the night. Today marks the end of our final session of Easy Dharma for Difficult Times. And from next week onwards, which is Tuesday, it will be Pastor Naral at 9:30. We're going to start from 9:30 onwards. Okay, it's a new series. So it's called Easy Dharma for the New Normal. All right. So on Tuesdays, 9:30 will be Pastor Naral. On Wednesdays, it will be me, Pastor David. All right. Thank you very much. Janju Sencho Rinpoche, Mahipana Gyushe, Kebayama Mipayang, Goden Godo Pewasho. Tony Tonga Rinpoche, Mahipana Gyushe, Kebayama Mipayang, Goden Godo Pewasho, Dasujin Sabagi Wadi, Tanandrua Gunla Kampana, Jebo Jozo Lawson Drapa, Tamping Perindo Sao, Sho, Kewa Gundo Yana Lamada, Jimmy Joki Palong Chache, Sada Lankion Terrachuni, Doji Changi Gopan Yutosho, Gewadi, Yududa, Lama Sangi Juhuni, Chuachika Malupa, De Salagopasho, Chichijabo Songaba, Chosonama Pewala, Gekisha Majiwada, Tuni Malon Shanjo, Dada Chingi Dosundan, George Latani, Yawa Lawson Drapa, Tamparing Vaguji, Nimodella Santella, Nemicoyan Delection, yes, and Tatu Delapel, Conscious and Yulo, Conscious in Motoso, Conscious in Tashi, Show, Jason Lama Kusor of the chain, now country in Pada, Los on me drawing Samsung, Drumans of Tatuni, Guji, Country Railway Coalition come there, Penanda, Malokan, Cherizing one tens in Gasway, Sharp City Badu and Guji, Home to Bingo to Malupa, Dinner Dollars also, Cordon Temple Ocean, and gave us Sushi shook themselves. Thank you, everybody. Good night.